Community-based, community-led planning is a core function of governance. It involves mapping out a future in which everyone can see themselves. By bringing the voices of all citizens together to explore the past, acknowledge the present, and envision the future, Indigenous communities and nations across the country are using community-led planning to rebuild and create positive, lasting change on their journeys to self-determination. Indigenous peoples have long been planners. Oral history and archaeological evidence indicate that we have had over 10,000 years of uninterrupted use and occupation of our territories, following cycles and seasons, thriving as societies. We collected data to make informed decisions and had sophisticated economic, governmental, and social systems. After centuries of enduring marginalization through colonial and government actions, Indigenous peoples have now had their rights affirmed through national and international legislation and policy. We are embracing those rights and working to rebuild social, cultural, and economic systems to repair the damage done by colonization. Planning is central to good governance and nation rebuilding. This video shares some of the many meaningful, long-term success stories resulting from Indigenous community-led planning at local, regional, and national levels. It connects those successes to the 7 C's, demonstrating that investments in community-led planning support work towards rebuilding self-determined people, self-determined processes, and self-determined futures. The 7 C's are standards for planning in Indigenous communities. They include, number 1, culture and languages. Culture and languages are the foundation of our identity. Number 2, community-driven, nation-based. We define what is important to our community and nation. Number 3, community engagement. Everyone's voice matters. Number 4, communication. Clear and reliable communication is vital to our vibrant community. Number 5, collaboration. We work together for the benefit of the whole community and nation. Number 6, connection. All things are related and connected. Number 7, commitment. Our work reflects our responsibility to future generations. We are featuring one success story for each of the 7 standards, beginning with culture and languages. Number 1, Haida Nation. Culture and languages. When the Skidegate Band Council embarked on a multi-year community-led planning process that began in 2012, 3 priorities emerged from citizens: strengthen culture and language, protect the environment, and build economic development on Haida territories. Collaboration with the Haida Nation on these priorities led to the creation of an internationally celebrated full-length feature film.
I came up to Haida Gwaii to witness the students presenting the results of the visioning work. And out of that visioning process came the top 3 priorities for the Skidegate Haida community as they move forward. For the first of those was language revitalization. The second was protecting the lands and waters of Haida Gwaii. And the third was inventing some kind of economic development that was both environmentally friendly and would keep youth on Haida Gwaii.
The community loved the process and methodology of coming together to talk. It's basically an old way of planning that we've been doing forever. And so using those same principles in community planning, we rolled out the idea of making the film. One of the most important things about community planning is about mentorship and building capacity within community. Communities can do everything themselves. They just need mentorship. That's what we do as Indigenous people, is we mentor the youth, the up-and-coming people in our community to be our leaders.
One of our aims was to showcase the health and the vibrancy of the Haida way of life pre-contact.
I think it's about connections. So to make this film, it took a lot of people to come together over quite a few years. Like it took over 2 years to make the film. Even on set, we lived together, we ate together, we slept in tents together, and we worked together long days. So we became really good friends, and I would say family. So those once you make those connections, they never go away.
It was a 5-year process. For me, as a community planner and as a filmmaker, the realization of the power of film to achieve community development goals was, I think, a huge joy.
Number 2, Chilcotin Women's Council. Community-driven, nation-based. As each of the 6 Chilcotin communities completed a comprehensive community plan, they agreed that revitalizing traditional governance was key to nation rebuilding. The Chilcotin National Government then embarked on a nation-based plan that included the voices of communities. From this community-driven and nation-based work, the Women's Council was born.
The Chilcotin Women's Council are guided by Sada Asaidan, the Chanjari Tan, the protocol, the laws, and the values. The strength of the Chilcotin Women's Council is to carry forward the Chilcotin knowledge in the language, the stories, the songs, the ceremonies, the land, the water.
I think a lot of it has to do with the voice of our women. Since we all represent the 6 communities of the Chilcotin Nation, I think when we come together, we're doing the work at the nation level in a very positive way from different teachings.
Back in colonizations, strategic planning history of matriarchs had the leading role, as women's councils are the advisors for the chief of Chilcotin. We are a group that closes the gap between the communities and the chiefs in decision making. My vision is to have a sustainable future where families are not compromised, to keep fighting for their basic needs. In planning process, we have come up with one goal: to embrace mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, and culturally strong people. This will contribute to build on the health and well-being of First Nations or Dene people. A second goal is to develop protocols, practices, promoting values, sharing circle for developing more goals in a setting circle with other women council of our nation.
The Women's Council came out of the words of the people, for the women to lead and to be the decision makers that they're born to be. And it came as of the 6 communities doing their own community plannings, which were brought together at the nation level around governance. And it was from the people, the Dene, the Chilcotin Dene, that the Women's Council was born. This amazing work that they do to continue this journey of healing and to continue to be able to foster the outcomes that Thelma and Angie have talked about.
We also would like to touch on teaching culture as much as we can, bring in the elders to talk about the basket making or talking in their language or showing how they made a dip net. When you see an elder talking with another elder from another community, their face light up. And then they talk about the stories of what has happened in their community or who they missed and what they did long time ago when they were together.
Number 3, Cambridge Bay, community engagement. When Cambridge Bay began their community-led planning process, they understood that every voice matters. They created councils to give elders and youth the opportunity to speak about their dreams and hopes for the future. Cambridge Bay began implementing priorities as they arose. The creation of the Elders Camp emerged from this engagement process.
Prior to beginning community-led planning, most planning work in Cambridge Bay was done by senior management. After hearing about the benefits of Indigenous community-led planning at a workshop in Regina in 2018, staff at Cambridge Bay started thinking about how to put the new planning approach in place. The goal of staff was to encourage leadership and community to create a plan that would build trust and be based on local values, protocols, needs, and preferences of the people. They were able to get funding from the federal government for this process, which allowed them to hire a planning coordinator, organize a planning team, and support the engagement process. Community-led planning in Cambridge Bay involved many meetings with Qilip including elders, youth, staff, and citizens. They shared that they were tired of talking and wanted to start getting things done. One of their priorities was to create a place to gather, talk, share traditional teachings and practices, and be on the land. The planning team started working to implement this idea right away instead of waiting for the whole planning process to be finished. They found a piece of municipal land with abandoned homes on it. After some discussions with the municipality, they all agreed that the land could be used by the Ananas. When the Ananas camp was first set up, the Ananas used it to gather and keep Inuit culture alive. Over time, the community members started to come to Ananas camp and visit and enjoy bannock and tea together. Pregnant women, new mothers, children, and youth started coming to the camp to learn about their ancestors and culture by listening to, observing, and practicing their traditional ways with the elders and ulus. The community-led plan and work at Ananas Camp are based on Inuit societal values. These are principles based on Inuit Qauyumatupqangit, which aim to incorporate traditional Inuit knowledge into modern everyday practices. The Ananas Camp emerged from our community-led planning process and our Inuit Qauyumatupqangit. The camp has become an important place for our people to learn, remember, practice, and share the language and culture and teachings of our people, as well as to find connection and purpose.
Number 4, First Nations Health Managers Association, Communication. The First Nations Health Managers Association, or FNHMA, has built training and learning tools that focus on clear communication and consistent support for First Nations health directors and managers developing community-led health plans. This clear and consistent communication leads to greater transparency, accountability, and stronger governance.
The First Nations Health Managers Association, founded in 2010, is a national professional association exclusively serving the needs of individuals working for or aspiring to health manager and leader positions with First Nation organizations. In 2006, Indigenous Services Canada reached out via the First Nations and Inuit Health Branch. Their goal is to devolve community health administration to First Nation control. We see an amazing living example of that devolution living in the First Nations Health Authority of British Columbia. That tripartite agreement was born out of devolution. But a lot of planning has to go into moving First Nation-led health service delivery from government to First Nation control. We bring in knowledge, language, relationships, purpose, meaning, and practices to community health and wellness planning. If you have a comprehensive community plan, this marries beautifully with that. We wouldn't do one without the other. We bring together partners, pan-Canadian health organizations, funders, all come to watch us celebrate and join with us as we lift First Nation health services delivery, and we wrap our arms around our loved ones who lead health services and community health and wellness planning for our kin across Canada.
Number 5, train the trainer, collaboration. The Train the Trainer workshops provide skill building to the next generation of community-led planning instructors. Central to this training series is collaboration between and across nations and planning specialists, building a web of support that benefits the community, the nation, and all of Turtle Island.
An idea emerged, well, let's develop a Train the Trainers module where we could empower not just more community planners, but to empower Indigenous trainers across Canada.
And so, of course, having an Indigenous pedagogy is important. We built from that place, that wisdom and knowledge of our many cultures and languages, and also the experiential learning, trying it on. The applied learning is so important.
My experience in the program was so healing. I just didn't think that I could connect with so many people virtually. It just makes you have that tingly feeling of it's gonna be okay. It was very euphoric. I don't know, I was validated, and I felt very proud to be there, and the experience was life-changing for me.
Community development work is near and dear to my heart. It really focuses on the strength of our people, the wisdom and knowledge that we have. And so lifting up our languages, our cultures, how we adapt to change, how we have that inner wisdom and strength is to me what community-led planning is about, following the ways of our people.
The proudest moment, I would say, was getting that chance to take a program that specifically deals with community-led planning, and taking part in that is making me proud of myself that I can use the skills and learnings from other participants and the facilitators and use that in my own planning and having an impact with my community members as well.
Just the empowerment and recognition of just a lot of great people doing a lot of great work, across all kinds of places in Turtle Island. So it was a real honor to witness that and be part of that.
I believe deeply and firmly that community-led planning, listening to the voice of our people, our youth, our children, our elders and knowledge keepers, listening to our stories. And when we were developing this curriculum, I could see this was a different way of doing our work. And it's so important.
Number 6, the circle, connection. The Quebec Comprehensive Community Planning, CCP Circle, known as the Circle, embodies the importance of connection between community planners and between nations. By planning together and supporting one another, we see that all things and all people are related and connected.
We chose to work as a circle from the beginning, making decisions together, sharing our wisdoms and stories, and really supporting each other. And while the activities have evolved through time, that spirit, that vision has remained the same the whole time. Planning is a core function of a nation's governance, and it deserves to be fully funded and supported.
Our regional collaboration is the fruit of our collective vision. We wanted to have a place to share planning stories and support each other as community planners.
I think community-led planning is so important and works well in our communities for a few reasons. I think it creates a pathway for our own community to develop a plan in a safe and healthy environment, and that goes along in line with also healing. It allows us to create an all-inclusive environment, ensuring that all voices are heard.
Donc, depuis mon arrivée à l'IDD PNQL, j'ai eu la chance d'être témoin de nombreuses réussites qui proviennent du cercle de pratique. Et la plus évidente pour moi, c'est vraiment les relations puis le soutien qui se crée à travers le cercle. Pour reprendre les mots de deux des participants qui m'ont le plus marqué lorsqu'on leur a demandé ce qu'ils aimaient du cercle. L'un a répondu, c'est un lieu plaisant, sécuritaire, où l'on peut apprendre et poser des questions. Et l'autre a répondu, le cercle nous permet de se ressourcer. Il nous rappelle ce que nous essayons de faire en nous inspirant des autres Premières Nations. Et il offre une richesse d'informations et de ressources.
Les résultats du cercle ont vraiment été de nous supporter dans dans toute notre démarche là, du début jusqu'à où ce qu'on est rendu en ce moment, là, qui est pratiquement à la fin. Là, puis je pense qu'on serait probablement pas rendu où ce qu'on est rendu en ce moment sans le cirque, là, parce qu'il y a énormément d'informations qui sont partagées à travers le cirque qui nous ont permis d'avancer là, dans notre démarche.
Le fait de partager nos histoires, nos réalités, nos outils ensemble, ça nous unit les communautés entre nous. Le cercle PCG est un processus rassembleur qui nous permet d'être plus forts et de croire en nous et en notre communauté.
A really important component to community-led planning is to realize that as an Indigenous people, we are storytellers. How do we share our knowledge? That transfer of knowledge happens when we're able to work collectively, share our hopes, share our dreams, our visions for not just for today, but for tomorrow and for the future.
Number 7, Gambler First Nation, Commitment. Gambler First Nation embrace community-led planning as a way to lift up the voices of their members. They recognize that planning is about the past, the present, and the future. By focusing on the long-term wellness of their community, they have been able to begin new projects with lasting impact.
Basically what we did was started hosting community gatherings and open the floor for topics of what we wanted to see for Gambler with housing, with education, social health.
I have a bit of experience prior to CCP and after. And some of the things I've noticed is just a lot more community involvement. I think the whole community was excited to get involved and start planning their future. Whereas prior to CCP, it was a kind of a top-down approach. The elected leaders would try and do what they thought benefited the community the most, but it didn't incorporate the voices of all the members. So now there's an excitement where more community members are coming out and kind of sharing their ideas, and they see that there's change that's in the direction that they've wanted. So a lot more positivity in the community.
And then the CCP is helping us get more and more people involved, because when we go to the membership, we tell them this is a CCP meeting, and they say, well, what's CCP? And so community comprehensive planning. So it reinforces that this program that we're using is helping us get out to the membership.
First step was collecting everything, and we opened it up. We said anything and everything, like, funny little things like, oh, it'd be great to have a KFC here, and but is that feasible for such a small community? And the others, like sidewalks and cultural center, health center, that kind of thing. So we started collecting that data, and then we worked with the membership on how we were going to achieve getting those into Gambler.
The other communities recognizing what Gambler is doing, I don't think I can go anywhere without people, congratulating us on our movement forward in a positive way.
We're very proud of our CCP, and having your membership that involved in building the community, I mean, you can just see they're proud and they're happy, and it's just a really great program to have.
Indigenous peoples across Canada are leaders in holistic, community-driven, nation-based planning. The 7 stories featured in this video demonstrate that bringing the ideas and perspectives of leadership and membership forward allows incredible things to happen, including healing, cultural revitalization, trust building, and moving forward towards a collective vision. Investing in community-driven priorities and community-led planning is central to nation rebuilding. The provision of sufficient, sustainable, and predictable funding for community-led planning truly sets the foundation for the future.